From the beginning of time, man has built illusions and lifted them up as if they were eternal. Thrones carved out of pride, powers clothed in authority, crowns forged from ambition, all have risen and all have fallen. Yet in the moment of their rising, they seemed unshakable. Nations bowed before them, voices trembled in their presence, and the people believed they would endure forever. But when the hand of God moves, what seemed unbreakable crumbles like dust in the wind. This is the breaking of illusions, the shattering of the false appearances that men construct to cover their fragility. When a ruler stands upon deception, when authority is sustained by manipulation, when power thrives on the illusion of permanence, it becomes only a matter of time before it is exposed. For illusions cannot endure the fire of truth. They may dazzle the eye for a moment, they may command attention and even loyalty, but beneath them lies nothing more than weakness, and the weakness cannot withstand the judgment of the eternal. September 03, 2025 becomes not just a date on a calendar, but a moment of unveiling when the illusions that once held sway are torn away, and the reality is revealed for all to see. Consider the mighty empires of the past, those that declared themselves eternal. Rome, in its grandeur, proclaimed itself the everlasting empire. Its leaders hailed as gods, yet it fell not with a single blow, but through the slow erosion of its illusions. Babylon, with its golden palaces, believed no army could penetrate its walls, but in one night its reign collapsed. The same pattern repeats across the ages. When men exalt their illusions above truth, they set themselves on a path of downfall. It is never the armies that destroy first. It is the lie that collapses from within. And when that collapse comes, the illusion vanishes, and the nakedness of power is laid bare. So it is with every throne built upon falsehood. The ruler may believe his power secure, the people may fear his strength, but when the appointed day comes, the illusion breaks. And when it breaks, it is not a gradual unraveling, but a sudden exposure, a revelation that all along what seemed like strength was only weakness wrapped in a mask. On September 3, 2025, the mask will fall, and the true nature of the power that was exalted will be revealed, not as immortal, not as indestructible, but as dust swept away by the breath of God. The breaking of illusions is not only about rulers and nations, it is about the human heart. Every heart constructs its own illusions of control, of permanence, of self-sufficiency. We imagine we are secure because of our wealth, our reputation, our influence. We clothe ourselves with achievements and build walls of pride, convincing ourselves that nothing can topple us. Yet in one moment, all of it can collapse. Illness comes, fortune fails, the applause of the crowd fades, and what seems so certain disappears. The breaking of illusions comes to every soul, for God will not allow deception to stand forever. He will expose what is false so that truth might be seen. The ruler removed from power on that appointed day becomes a mirror for all who watch. His fall is not only his own story, it is the story of humanity itself. The one who appeared untouchable is revealed as mortal. The one who strutted in strength is shown to be fragile. The one who seemed enthroned forever is cast down in a moment. It is a sign to all who behold it, trust not in the illusions of men. Cling not to thrones of dust. Do not build your foundation upon that which cannot endure, for the breaking of one illusion is meant to awaken us to the greater reality, that only the eternal is unshackable, only his throne endures. The day of breaking is also the day of unveiling, for when the false is removed, the true is revealed. When the facade falls, what lies beneath can no longer be hidden, and what is revealed is often not only the weakness of man, but the sovereignty of God. For the very collapse of earthly power becomes the proof of a higher power. The throne that falls proclaims that there is a greater throne above it, one that cannot be toppled, one that has stood from the beginning and will stand at the end. September 03 becomes not just a date of political change, but a revelation of divine sovereignty. The illusions broken are not only those of the ruler, but of the people. Many had placed their faith in his power. Many had looked to him as their protector or savior. His removal reveals the futility of such trust. For if your foundation is a man, when that man falls, your foundation crumbles. If your hope rests on an illusion, when the illusion breaks, despair follows. But if your trust is set upon the eternal, then even when thrones collapse and crowns fall to the ground, you will not be shaken. The breaking of illusions is thus a call to realign our trust, to set our hope not on what fades, but on what endures. There's also mercy in the breaking, for illusions, while they last, deceive and lead astray. They cause men to bow before what is unworthy, to fear what is powerless, to serve what cannot save. But when the illusion breaks, the spell is lifted. Eyes are opened, hearts awakened, minds freed. The breaking may be painful, the collapse may be devastating, but in that very moment lies the possibility of redemption. For in the exposure of falsehood, the way is clear to embrace truth. The removal of one enthroned in power becomes the opportunity for many to see with new eyes, to awaken from the slumber of deception. Yet not all will learn. Some will weep for the illusion, longing for its return, blind to the freedom its collapse has granted. Others will rush to build new illusions, repeating the same pattern, never stopping to ask why the old one fell. But for those who are wise, the breaking becomes a teacher. They will see that the fall of the mighty is not a random event, but a sign, a reminder that illusions do not endure, that truth always prevails, and that every throne built on pride must come down. So the story of September 03, 2025 is not only about one man removed from power, it is about the larger pattern of life, history, and eternity. It is the revelation that nothing built on lies can stand, that what is exalted in pride will be humbled, and that no illusion, however strong it seems, can survive the touch of God's hand. It is a trumpet sound into every ear. Do not be deceived by appearances. Do not trust in the glitter of crowns. Do not place your hope in illusions. For when the appointed day comes, the illusions will break, and only truth will remain. There are days that pass like any other, ordinary in their unfolding, forgotten in the flow of time. But then there are days set apart, days marked not by chance but by design, when the course of nations shifts, when the unseen decrees of heaven break into the realm of earth. September 03, 2025 stands as such a day. It is not a random alignment of circumstances, nor the product of human calculation alone, but a day etched into the script, written long before men conceived of their schemes. It is the day of reckoning, when what has been hidden comes into the open, when the season of one reign reaches its appointed end, and when pride that rose too high is brought low. A throne, no matter how secure it may appear, has an expiration. Power, no matter how absolute it may seem, has a boundary. Every ruler is permitted a season, a measure of days, a portion of authority. It may seem to the one enthroned that his power is without limit, that his reign stretches endlessly before him, but the truth is that the number of his days has already been counted, measured, and set. And when that number reaches its end, no force of man, no strategy, no army, no deception can extend it by even 1 hour. When the decree is sealed in heaven, it unfolds on earth. The day of reckoning is not sudden to God. It is sudden to man. It is sudden to the ruler who wakes to find his power slipping from his grasp. It is sudden to the people who never imagined their world could change in a single day. But in the councils of eternity, that day has been known from the beginning. What seems to come like a thief in the night is in fact the fulfillment of a plan written long before the foundations of the world. On September 23, 2025, what is revealed is not chaos but order, not randomness but destiny, not the collapse of meaning, but the manifestation of meaning that had always been there, waiting for its time. The appointed day carries with it a weight of inevitability. For pride does not go unanswered, deception does not remain unchallenged, oppression does not endure unchecked. When a man builds his throne on arrogance, he sets himself on a collision course with the day of reckoning. It may seem that he prospers, that nothing can touch him, that he is untouchable, but every act of pride is a seed planted, and every seed bears fruit in its time. The day of reckoning is the harvest. It is the moment when what was sown in arrogance is reaped in downfall, when the throne that seems so stable is toppled by the weight of its own corruption. On such a day, the true power is revealed. For the ruler, stripped of authority, learns that he was never sovereign, that his reign was permitted but not absolute, that his crown was borrowed, not owned. The people see that the man they feared, the one they revered, was never ultimate, that his power was an illusion sustained only by the hand that allowed it. And when that hand withdraws, the illusion crumbles, the throne is shaken, and the mighty are brought low. The day of reckoning is a revelation. exposing the limits of man and the sovereignty of God. The removal of power is not merely political, it is cosmic. It declares to the world that the Eternal governs over the kingdoms of men, that he raises up and he casts down, that no authority exists except what he permits. This truth is often hidden during the years of a ruler's strength, when all eyes are fixed on his might. But on the appointed day, when power slips through his fingers, the truth becomes undeniable. The reign was temporary, the throne was fragile, the crown was fleeting. Only the higher throne endures. Only the greater sovereignty remains. September 3, 2025 is not only a date of an ending, it is also a date of unveiling. The fall of one reign makes way for another purpose. The closing of one chapter prepares the opening of the next. The removal of one power signals the rising of something new. The day of reckoning is not only about judgment, but about transition. For the end of one reign clears the ground for what is to come. Just as the seasons turn, winter yielding to spring, so the removal of power is the passing of one season into another. The ruler falls, but the story does not end. The story continues, now moving into its next act, guided by the unseen hand that directs history. But the day of reckoning also holds a message for the people who witness it. For if a throne so high can fall in an instant, then what of our own lives? If a ruler so powerful can be cast down in a moment, what of our own illusions of control? The day serves as a warning. No one is beyond the reach of accountability. Every heart will face its own reckoning. Every life its own appointed day. What is hidden will be revealed. What is sown will be reaped. And what is built on pride will fall. The fall of one enthroned in power becomes a mirror for all humanity, a sign of the universal truth that no deception lasts, no pride endures, no throne of man survives forever. The day of reckoning comes not only to expose, but to awaken. For in the collapse of what seemed immovable, there is an invitation. The invitation is to turn away from the fleeting, to renounce the illusions, to let go of the false securities, and to anchor one's life in what endures. The fall of a ruler, dramatic and public, serves as a call to every soul, personal and private. It says, learn from this fall. Do not build where the foundation will not hold. Do not trust in the temporary. Do not exalt yourself, lest you too be brought down. The day of reckoning for one becomes a mercy for many, if only they will see the sign and respond. History bears witness to these days again and again. Babylon fell in a night. The might of Egypt was broken in a day. Rome crumbled after centuries of dominance. Kings and empires, rulers and tyrants, all believed themselves secure until the appointed day revealed otherwise. And in each case, their fall became a lesson for those who came after. But history also reveals that the lessons are rarely learned. Men forget. Nations repeat the cycle. Pride rises again, illusions are rebuilt, and the path to another reckoning begins anew. September 3, 2025 will stand as one more entry in this eternal pattern. A reminder for those with eyes to see, a warning for those who would repeat the same mistakes. The day of reckoning is not meant to inspire despair, but to reveal hope. For if God can remove what is corrupt, it means he can also raise up what is just. If he can bring down what is false, it means he can establish what is true. The fall of one power opens the way for a renewal, a chance to begin again, a clearing of the ground for a new planting. The breaking of pride creates space for humility. The removal of deception creates room for truth. The collapse of oppression creates the possibility of freedom. What seems like an end may, in fact, be the beginning of something greater. So the meaning of September 3, 2025 is not confined to the fall of one man or one throne. It is about the larger truth that governs all existence. There is a time for everything under heaven, a time to rise and a time to fall, a time to be exalted and a time to be humbled, a time to reign and a time to be removed. The day of reckoning is the turning of that time, the moment when the balance is reset, when justice interrupts corruption, when truth breaks through illusion. It is the day when the eternal hand reaches into the affairs of men and shifts the course of history. And so, when the ruler is removed, when the throne stands empty, when the crown is taken away, the message resounds to all who watch. Do not be deceived by appearances. Do not be lulled by the seeming permanence of power. Do not imagine that pride can endure forever. The day of reckoning will always come, and when it does, it comes swiftly, surely, inevitably. The fall is not the failure of destiny. It is destiny fulfilled. The removal is not the collapse of order. It is the revelation of order that was there all along. September Zooey 3 is the appointed time, the day decreed, the moment when what was hidden becomes manifest, and what seemed eternal is shown to be fleeting. There are moments when the flow of time shifts, when what seemed unshakable is suddenly shaken, when the powerful who stood at the center of a nation's life are brought to their knees, and when a voice greater than all earthly voices declares, "No more." September 03, 2025 is not just a date written on a calendar. It is a declaration of the sovereignty of the eternal. It is the moment when a throne that seemed immovable is removed, when a reign that appeared secure is cut short, and when a man who exalted himself is humbled before all. Yet in this fall lies not only the exposure of pride, but the unveiling of a higher truth. That power does not belong to man. That sovereignty does not rest in flesh and blood. And that history is not guided by the schemes of rulers, but by the hand of the one who reigns above all. When a ruler is stripped of power, it reveals something far deeper than the end of one man's reign. It uncovers the illusion upon which so much of life is built. The world looks at power and sees permanence. The crowds gather and cheer. The systems bend to the will of the ruler. The armies march at his command, and the wealth of nations flows at his decree. To the human eye, it seems unstoppable, unbreakable, eternal. But in a moment, in a day, in an instant, it can all be gone. What seemed like a mountain is revealed to be mist. What appeared to be a fortress is revealed to be dust. September 3, 2025 will unveil this truth before the watching world, that the power of man is an illusion sustained only by the permission of the one who allows it. The fall of a ruler exposes the limits of human strength. No matter how great his wisdom, no matter how vast his resources, no matter how far reaching his influence, he cannot add 1 hour to his reign once the decree has been set. His armies cannot protect him. His counselors cannot shield him. His wealth cannot buy him more time. His words cannot reverse the order. On the appointed day, everything he relied upon proves powerless. Every pillar collapses. Every wall falls. The one who is exalted stands exposed, vulnerable, undone. And the world beholds the truth that was always there, but hidden by the illusion of his strength, that his power was never his own, that his reign was always temporary, and that his throne was only borrowed. The removal of power is not merely about judgment, but about revelation. It is as if a veil is torn away, and what was hidden behind appearances is seen clearly for the first time. The people who once trembled at the name of the ruler realize that he is but dust and breath, subject to the same frailty as all. The throne that appeared unshakable is shown to be fragile. The power that seemed boundless is revealed as fleeting. The illusion is shattered, and the truth emerges that no man is ultimate, that no crown is permanent, that no kingdom of flesh and blood can endure forever. But in the fall of a ruler, there is not only the unveiling of illusion, but also the unveiling of sovereignty. For when one reign ends, it declares that a higher reign has never ceased. The one who falls testifies to the one who does not fall. The throne that is emptied points to the throne that can never be emptied. The crown that is removed reveals the crown that can never be taken away. September 03, 2025 becomes not just the day of a man's downfall, but the day of the eternal's exaltation, when the world is reminded that it is he who governs over the kingdoms of men, he who raises up and casts down, he who holds the power of history in his hands. The collapse of a reign serves as a mirror to the human condition. For every heart, in some measure, builds its own throne. Every life seeks to secure its own reign, to establish its own kingdom, to exalt itself in its own way. And just as rulers fall, so too will every throne of pride erected in the human heart. The downfall of a leader is the public revelation of what will one day come to all. When the illusions we cling to are stripped away, when the pride we harbor is humbled, when the truth we resisted becomes undeniable, the question is not whether reckoning will come, but when. The only question is whether we will learn from the fall of others before our own day arrives. The illusions of power are not confined to rulers. They are woven into the fabric of life. Men trust in wealth, believing it will shield them. They trust in success, imagining it will endure. They trust in strength, assuming it will never fade. They trust in systems, thinking they will never collapse. But September 03, 2025 will echo beyond the fall of a ruler, declaring to all humanity that nothing of this world is permanent, that no illusion will stand forever, and that every false security will one day crumble. It is a warning written not only for kings and presidents, but for every soul that would build its life on shifting sand instead of on what endures. Yet in the exposure of illusion, there is also mercy, for when illusions are shattered, truth is revealed, and truth, though it may wound, also heals. The fall of a ruler is a shaking of the ground, but it is also the clearing of the ground for something true to be built. The removal of what is false creates space for what is real. The humbling of pride opens the door for humility. The collapse of arrogance creates room for wisdom. The unveiling of illusions invites those who watch to turn, to choose differently, to anchor their lives not in what fades, but in what remains. Consider the pattern written across history. Every empire believed itself eternal. Babylon thought its walls would never fall. Persia believed its rule would never end. Greece thought its culture would never fade. Rome believed its empire would last forever. Each exalted itself. Each trusted in the illusion of permanence, and each was brought down, and with each fall, the world was reminded of the truth that no empire, no matter how vast, can outlast the decrees of eternity. September 3, 2025 will be another such reminder, another marker in the unbroken testimony of history, declaring that pride falls, that power fades, that only the higher reign endures. But the meaning of such a day extends beyond judgment and beyond warning. It also carries within it the seed of hope. For if illusions can be shattered, then truth can be revealed. If false thrones can be brought down, then true thrones can be raised up. If corrupt power can be removed, then just power can take its place. The day that humbles one can be the day that lifts up many. The fall of a ruler can be the turning of a nation, if only the people will see and respond. The exposure of illusion can become the beginning of renewal, the clearing of the ground for a new planting, the opening of the way for something greater to come forth. And so the fall is not the end. It is the beginning. The collapse of the illusion is the unveiling of reality. The downfall of the ruler is the revelation of sovereignty. The humbling of pride is the opening for humility. The removal of what is false is the making way for what is true. September 3, 2025 will not merely mark the close of a chapter, but the turning of the page, the passage from one season to another, the continuation of the story written from the beginning. When the world beholds the fall, some will mock, some will fear, some will despair, but the wise will see beyond the surface. They will hear the message written into the event. They will understand that the collapse of one reign is a signpost pointing to a deeper reality. They will take it not as the end of order, but as the revelation of order, not as the loss of meaning, but as the uncovering of meaning, not as a reason for hopelessness, but as an invitation to hope in what does not fall. For when illusions fall away, what remains is truth. And when all else crumbles, truth stands. That is the lesson September 3, 2025 will write in bold letters across the stage of history. That power is fleeting, but sovereignty is eternal. That pride falls, but humility is lifted. That the illusions of man collapse, but the purposes of God endure forever. The ruler will be removed, the throne will be emptied, but the higher throne will remain unshaken, unending, and supreme. And so the picture becomes clear. A man exalted is humbled, a throne once secure is emptied, a power once feared is no more. What seemed unshakable has been shaken, what appeared eternal has been cut short, and what looked immovable has been swept away in a moment. September 3, 2025 is not the triumph of chaos, but the unveiling of sovereignty, a reminder that history is not written by the hands of rulers, but by the hand of the eternal. It is a summons to all who witness to see beyond the fall of one and perceive the truth that governs all, that no crown endures but his, no power stands but his, no throne remains but his. The illusions of men may dazzle for a season, but in the end they are stripped bare, leaving only the reality that endures. The fall of the ruler is the call to humility, the call to turn, the call to anchor our lives not in what crumbles, but in what cannot be shaken. And those who hear, those who understand, will not be undone when the thrones of this world fall, for their hope will not rest in man, but in the one who reigns forever.